Welcome back to In the Valley podcast. I'm Ethan Harkness.
I'm Colin Mach.
I'm Brandon Studebaker.
I'm Christian Dagostino.
I'm
Uh,
Keith Pulaski.
And I'm Trey McCardle.
I hope you all enjoyed our last podcast. And today we're going to talk about crisis in sports, and we have a special guest towards the end of it, so stay tuned for that. So, our topic today is crisis in sports. So, players getting in trouble, players getting arrested. I guess injuries could count for this too. And what are some like notable, I guess, crisis that y'all like think of when you hear that?
The first one
Um,
that comes to mind. Oh, sorry.
no, go ahead. You got
I
it.
was just gonna say like being like a Clemson fan and all that, like Deshaun Watson and like all the legal stuff that he's had to deal with. And obviously now I'm a Browns fan, so like I've kind of had to like unfortunately like stay like or unfortunately keep up with that while it's going on. And I mean, it sucks because like these dudes that like you grew up idolizing, like they might not be like the type of person that you'd want them to be or and just like same with like kind of like the crisis point of it, like dude was on the top of the world and then like you know did whatever, and now like he lost it all, and like we're kind of seeing it now like with James Pierce just had like one of the best seasons for like a rookie edge rusher and decided to like chase after his girlfriend like in his car and like get tackled by the police. Like he's just like it's just stupid stuff, man.
Yeah. At first, when it all like came out, like, because it was just such weird timing at first because he was initially just like, yeah, I want to get traded by the Texans because that year, I remember that year so specifically. I think he was like top two, top three in
Yeah.
QBR, and he
He
had
was,
and his team was like 4-12. He had like
Yeah,
one of the worst
exactly.
teams. That
yeah,
was that was the year that they did the whole D
They
Hop trade.
traded D-Hop, yeah, for David Johnson.
One of the worst trades I've ever seen. And then he wanted to trade, and then like it started to come out, and I was like, okay. I'm like, how much am I buying this? And then like it
yeah,
kept going. I'm like, okay, I think he did something. Like he
Yeah, but it
definitely
was
did something.
it's almost sketchy on the Texans part because it's almost like they knew about it the whole time. Then as
yeah.
soon as he goes
Because
Yeah.
to the trade, they just
I
like they
heard,
air it all out.
I
Mhm.
heard a bunch of stuff where it was like
The
there were
attorney
so many
lived next to the
connections
owner, some shit like
within,
that.
like from the allegations within the Texans organization, and there was like so much coming out. So you
Mhm.
didn't. It was insane, dude.
Yeah,
Like,
Yeah.
no, it's just a sad situation all around.
yeah,
The
Yeah.
other one I can think of is didn't something happen with Kawhi where he was getting paid like under the table?
yeah. The Clippers owner Ballmer, I think he had like another company that
Yeah,
was
Yeah.
like laundering money to
fake
it
wise.
was a fake tree company, and it was just giving money to
Yeah, he
Kawhi.
was like an employee and he got
Yeah,
like
I know. It
$10
was
million a year or something like
yeah,
that.
no.
I mean, I'm like a big Kawhi glazer. So
I
like
love Kawhi so
I
much.
love Kawhi. I love Kawhi ever since it came out of San Diego State. So when that whole thing came out, and I was just like, I'm like, you know what? Take Kawhi off that Clippers team. What's the Clippers doing? That's all I'm gonna say. I mean, that I also sound like there's worse things that people have done. He didn't kill somebody. I mean, yeah, he's taken out probably an extra $10 million out of the owner. Let's not sit up here and act like all these organizations are all high and mighty. I mean, for the longest time, I mean, the Commanders at the time now, but the Redskins, when they had Dan Schneider, I mean, I mean, let's not look at Dan Schneider like he's some holy grail. I mean, then he started touching kids.
Fair.
Probably notable ones are all the DUIs out of Georgia. They have
Oh
one,
yeah.
at least like one or two every year. And like at some point, you got to blame Kirby Smart for that.
Well, you got to
Yeah.
blame like like just the athletic
Yeah.
department
Yeah.
in general. I mean, you also like not to pick on Georgia. Georgia's a great college, but like
Yeah.
you look at their graduation rate. It's not super high.
I
I
mean,
mean,
college.
It's a
Clemson.
good school though, for
Oh
the
I
yeah,
feel
it's
most
a
like
good
Right? They have a
school.
super high or low acceptance rate, I think.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, yeah, it's a good school. I just feel like
Yeah.
college football in general is just super sketchy. Like Florida always they had some stuff going on. I feel like Ohio
yeah.
State had stuff going on. Penn State. I mean,
Ooh,
they were
Penn
doing
State.
that
Penn
weird
State,
stuff.
yeah, they had some things going on.
When Brian Kelly was at Notre Dame, they had the student manager that got killed. And just like I feel like every big program has like some little bit of dirt on them,
Well, I
like in
mean, we
college
want to talk
football.
about college football allegations. Let's start with the biggest one with SMU. That is the
Yeah.
biggest allegation. They were paying their
Uh,
players
yeah.
because, which it's so funny because you go back and look at it, they could have easily gotten away with it. Easily. But every player kept showing up in a new car. Eric Dickerson was pulling up in all these
Also the
Mustangs
number
and
one
everything.
recruit
I'm
as well.
like,
Yeah, going to
I mean,
SMU.
before NIL, every team was paying
I was
players
gonna
yeah.
say, like, that's
like
how, I mean, I feel like
some were more obvious than
Alabama,
others.
A- Alabama football and like Duke basketball were like the two who everybody was kind of like, oh yeah, whatever. They get
There's
away
always
with
that
it.
rumor of like Zion getting that money to go to Duke
Have
or
Yeah.
Yeah.
Clemson.
have y'all seen Zion's like I know this might be off topic, but Zion's like class schedule the semester
Yeah.
he was at Duke. It's one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Like he was taking like it was all like these interpretive dance or like music classes that he definitely wasn't going to.
Yeah, it was like sex education, Disney movie, and like he had like a art history class, and like that was it, and like the interpretive dancing ones. It was pretty
I
funny.
So,
think the
nope.
just one more like the Kevin Durant burner. I think that's
Oh,
hilarious.
dude, he's classic for that. He wasn't wrong. You can call him a lot of things. You can call Kevin Durant a lot of things, but you can't call him a
Yeah,
liar.
see the game yesterday? Jabari Smith sold with the game on the line.
He's
Hey,
so
man, I don't
funny.
want to talk about that. That's like
Like you can say whatever you want about Kevin Durant. That man is hilarious. And
Yeah.
not only is he hilarious, like everything he says, like about like the things that he said about Draymond, the things that he said
just
about
that he has a burner, and
dude.
like just going on and like
And all that, he's texting in DMs with people like with
yeah.
random
Like just randoms. Yeah, randoms.
about about basketball.
It's pretty lit. Yeah.
He doesn't
Reminded me
take
of
it.
the funniest
So
thing I could think. Oh,
they
sorry.
were in the reading. Nope. No, you got it. Go ahead.
I was the only thing that when I think about like the funniest thing from Kevin Durant is I always love his fan interactions.
Oh
He
yeah.
just straight yells at his fans. I'm like, dude, they're cheering you on. Like I remember just like the one clip, hey KD, man, you take this game over, and he just turns that he just turns over and tells him to shut up. I'm like, hi, bro. I guess.
Dude. Kevin Durant, like,
So
he's
in the
hilarious.
readings,
Yeah.
they talk about two theories. The first one is image repair theory. And these are what organizations do to help, I guess, cover up the crisis. And there's five of them. It's denial, invading, mortification. And most of these are just trying to like desensitize or like kind of cover what the players actually do. And I feel like one of the like examples I always think of is that video of Nick Saban talking about Henry Ruggs, and he's
Right.
kind of trying to blame the people he was with instead of blaming Henry Ruggs. So, what do y'all think like is the most like effective way for like an organization to come out and like address a situation like that, I guess?
I think it's tough sometimes because, like, depending on obviously it varies from situation to situation, right? Because, like, Georgia will have a guy go 150 miles an hour and get a speeding ticket and lose his license, and they're not really saying anything about it. But then other times, like somebody will do something really messed up, and then the team has to say something about it. And, it kind of puts the team in a weird spot because if you come out and say something negative, then it's like, oh, they don't have their guys back. And then that looks weird on the coaching staff or the head office and everything like that, right? Because all we hear as fans is what, we get from the team or what we get from the media because the media is the middleman between
Yeah.
fans and the organization. So I always think it's interesting, when a team either decides to A, defend their guy and say, hey, we're working with them to get it back and to fix everything like that, or they just say X and O is excused from the team. He's traded,
Yeah.
he's gone.
Mm.
Yeah.
I feel like it's very hard for organizations with social media and the news spreading, like news is out within an hour of stuff happening, so they don't really have as much time to react and build like their side of the story.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there are times where like they've shown like players, like I think sometimes that players don't even like there's a good chunk of players that don't even know that they get traded.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
remember like I can't think of them, but I do remember just like players were just like I didn't even know I got traded until like someone told me. Said like, "Hey man, you just got." I think it was a basketball player. I can't think of the name,
Jimmy Butler.
but yeah, he was like, "Yeah, I didn't even know I got traded until like today." I'm like, "That's insane." But I also think like when it comes to organizations, at least for me, is I think it's just better just to lay it all out. Say like, "Hey
Yeah.
guys, we screwed up. Either if there's someone to blame, then maybe call them out on it. But I wouldn't be like, well, we did nothing wrong. They did everything wrong. Don't know what happened there." When
Yeah.
like you're supposed to be in control of the ship. It just I don't know. It kind of at least for me, it loses a lot of respect when I'm like, you're just pointing fingers.
Yeah.
You're
I
just
feel
You
pointing
like
know what?
fingers.
sometimes that'll happen. Something that will happen after something bad like that goes is you'll see something like they'll try and post like a highlight clip or maybe something that they did with like a children's hospital or something like that or team involvement. And that's their way of kind of not excusing the situation or the instance, but maybe just trying to shift fan focus and get people to move on.
Shift the narrative.
Yeah.
You
And then,
know,
oh,
that kind of
go ahead.
reminds me of when Tiger Woods got
Yeah.
like back in the day, like when he got caught like he had like all those mistresses or like
Yeah.
had all those affairs with his wife and they tried to like keep them all quiet and then once it got to like 14 or 15 he had to just come out in a press conference and be like, yeah, I messed up, guys.
Yeah.
It's on
Yeah,
me.
and then the second theory is Combs theory, and it's pretty much the same thing. It's talking about covering up, like just denying it. It's talking about justification, like trying to justify why the players did it, and then saying sorry, and then building back relationships. And I feel building back relationships is probably a key thing most organizations try to do when stuff like this happens. So,
I think one thing that's kind of happening with that is like so there's in professional golf there's two tours. There's the Live Tour and the PGA
mhm.
Tour, the two marquee kind of things that people are playing on. And one of the players that left the PGA Tour for the Live Tour for a lot of money, Brooks Koepka, decided to come back to the PGA Tour. He's the first player to be allowed to be done that. And, talking about building back up relationships or kind of saying like, oh, I apologize. They made him give up a lot of potential extra earnings that he would have outside of winning or playing in golf tournaments that all the other players are allowed to gain. And then he also had to donate like a large sum of money um, to a foundation that the PGA Tour supports. So I think, that was really interesting to see. And a lot of the times you don't see a lot of monetary things being taken care of like that. Most of the time they'll come out and they'll have a press conference or they'll share some stuff on social media. But I thought that was really interesting considering it was, I mean, they said he might be giving up the opportunity to gain up to $80 million in that one thing, and then he had to donate like 5 or 10 million dollars to that foundation, which was crazy.
I just feel like when stuff like this happens, it puts so much like pressure on organizations and teams, which I feel like it honestly shouldn't because they can't control everybody and like the actions, but it
Yeah.
does end up having that effect on the teams.
Yeah. And I mean, I definitely feel like it's better to try to build out your image than try to justify. Now, there is certain situations where you can try to justify,
Yeah.
like certain actions, like, oh, well, he attacked a guy. Okay, well, is it in self defense or did he just walk up and he just swung at the dude? If you walk up and swung at the dude, then obviously need to address that. But like, if the dude, like, I always think like the whole like DK Metcalf situation that was, in my opinion, it was funny. Obviously, he shouldn't have done it, but it was funny to watch because I'm like, dude, he called you by your name, like your full name. You just like, yeah, screw this guy, and you just want to throw it at him. But like, I am a full like, so I do like these, people who are like very degenerative gamblers will go into these people's DMs and like just talk crap about them because they sold their parlay or something like that. I'm a full supporter that I think athletes should fully respond to that with however way they want to. Because I'm like, dude, you are going up to like, I don't know, maybe because I care for my life. It's the same when that one dude walked up to Jason Kelsey and said that absolutely outlandish stuff. And
Yeah.
then Kelsey came down and slammed his phone into the
Yeah,
ground.
100%.
And then he looked around like trying to get defense. I'm like, bro, you're psycho. I am not walking up to Jason Kelsey of all people and talking crap to him. I'm not. I love my life. I don't need my face rearranged. But that's a personal thing.
Yeah, and also the thing about like when we talk about athletes and how sometimes athletes, because when they do very good at their job, they kind of get a little exempt from criticism. Like a lot of times, I don't know if you remember, like I'm a Braves fan, um, and we had a player, he recently left. His name is Marcelo Zuna.
Zuna from the Braves.
Ozuna from the Braves, yes. And he was playing very bad. And he, on top of that, got a DUI. And a year before that, had a domestic, you know, had some domestic issues. And a lot of people were on him. Like they were like, why have the Braves not cut this guy right now? And then he got out of his slump, and people were like, guys, it's just Ozuna from the Braves. He's just a guy. So like, I mean, we love athletes and everything, but like sometimes like when it like on their play, they do get exempt from like they can do some like not great things and still kind of get away with it if they're playing well.
Yeah, for sure.
Well,
To jump.
I think that'll wrap us the roundtable up.
All right, guys, welcome back to the In the Valley podcast. Appreciate you sticking with us for the second part of our segment. We're joined by national champion and ACC champion Mathias Leib on the Clemson men's soccer team. Mathias, we're just going to run through some questions, get your point of view on your process as a recruit and a player and kind of in the sports space. So our viewers and us can get a little bit of a feel for that. First thing is just I want to ask, like, obviously you were a really good player coming from Alabama, getting offers and opportunities like Clemson. How was that recruiting process for you? Talking to coaches, going through different things like that.
Yeah, it was good. It was, I before I went through it, I heard a lot of people talking about like, I'm glad I went through it, but I would never want to go through it again. And I kind of agree, to be fair. No, it was good. I really enjoyed getting to, you kind of learn a lot about yourself through it by how you want to present yourself to these coaches that it's the next 4 years of your life. So figuring out, what is really important to you and seeing what's important to the other coaches. So it was a lot of um, just through the process, it was a lot of coaches would come to our different games at different events, kind of around the country. And from there, it was, if they liked you, they'd reach out. We'd, start to build those relationships. And then in soccer, it was more like building the relationships, getting to know the guy rather than like we're gonna offer you and then we'll get to know you, you know? Um, so offers are way more
Yeah.
selective in soccer. But then there's also aspects where it's like we really like you, but we've only seen you play maybe a handful of times. Love for you to come to visit campus. We have ID camps. Come, play in front of all of our staff, for a couple of days. Then we get to really see you and how you are on and off the field, and you get to see what it's like where we're at too, like for example, like
Right.
here, our ID camp's really good because it's good exposure. Like all four coaches are always watching, but also like the players are really involved in helping, but also like getting to play sometimes they do like all-star games. So like some of the better guys from the camp get to play at the end of the day, some of the Clemson guys. So it was cool. It was a good experience, learned a lot, but glad it's over too.
So coming out of high school, what were some of your like top offers and like why did you choose Clemson over those?
Yeah, yeah. So I had a handful of offers, but I narrowed it down to two schools that were pretty night and day differently. One obviously being here at Clemson, and then the other one was Army West Point
Mm,
in New York. So a little different route than normal. Players going through that process, but I was kind of I was just trying to look at it as like, soccer is going to be temporary, right?
yeah.
And so see what school is the best for, yes, soccer, but also my future,
Mhm.
academically, socially, how to just best set me up to find the best community and find the best kickstart to my adult life, right? So through that, I kind of saw like Army West Point obviously is like super prestigious, hard work to get through. But I also saw Clemson as an opportunity, really, really high level soccer program, but also great academics, right? And it's a little closer to home. And so I thought, basically it came down to me. It was like if I'm gonna be, working my hardest physically, I'd rather do it all for soccer. So that was a big reason why I chose Clemson. Um, but also just, the community here, the support staff here, and the coaching staff, obviously. So,
Good.
Hey
So
Matthias. Oh,
now you can go, Colin. You can go.
I appreciate it. Thanks so much for joining again. I was just wondering, you mentioned earlier that or Christian mentioned earlier that you're a national champion and ACC champion. Not including those two games, what would you say is the craziest game that you've been a part of, your time at Clemson?
mm, yeah. Thank you guys again for having me. It's cool to see and be a part of. Yeah, so those two games are obviously crazy. I think there's been some, there's been a few I can think of. I got two. I'll go with the UNC game. So my sophomore year, we played against UNC Chapel Hill here.
Mhm.
Um, we're we're uh we're winning 2-1, I believe. And one of our guys gets a red card, so he gets thrown out. We're 10 men versus 11 men of them. We're playing, it's probably like 30 minutes left in the game, and they score, so it's tied. Um, I believe, yeah. I think no, so we're winning. It's like there's probably 10 minutes left in the game now, and one of our forwards questionably fouls the guy in the box. They get a penalty kick. They score. So they're a man up. They just tie the game. We got like maybe 5 minutes left. And it's just like, to be fair, the game is back and forth. Like
Yeah.
it was just chaotic, super fun, high adrenaline game. We get to like, man, it's probably a minute left and game's so spread out. Guys are all over the field. We get a
Mhm.
throw in, probably 30 yards to the goal we're trying to score on. Get it into a freshman forward, Wahabu Musa. And he's at like the top of the box, dribbles two guys, maybe has a shot, keeps dribbling. he's dribbling around the box, kind of probably 6 yards out from the goal.
Yeah.
There's probably three or four guys around him, North Carolina players,
Mhm.
maybe one other of our teammates in any area around him. He dribbles through all of them. We're like all yelling for him to shoot. Like we don't know what he's doing, but he's keeping the ball, right?
Yeah.
He finally gets like, I mean, maybe a yard in front of the goal and beats the last guy, passes it, and then senior Italian player Antonio Illuminato scores and like
Mhm.
basically like a walk off. Oh my,
Yeah,
we
I see what you
win.
mean.
I mean, it
Yeah.
was crazy. It was crazy. It was like fans are running on the field after that, and it was that was an awesome game. I just remember the next day. I mean, even right then, but the next day, just like laughing about like we were like, why would you not shoot that? You know what? Are you you know?
Yeah, for
Uh,
sure.
it was cool. That was definitely one of the most crazy but like fun and awesome games I've been a part
Yeah,
of.
no, I'm sure. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
So when it comes to like when it's like in season, what does a day to day like look like? Like
Yeah.
what does your day basically look like throughout the season?
Yeah. So for us, we train in the mornings. So I basically say we have like a 7 to 12 block where I'm just occupied with soccer, basically. So from like not necessarily 7, but like I'll wake up like 6:30, probably pick up some teammates, and we all have mandatory breakfast. That's at 7:30. So it's awesome. We added it last season, but we everybody shows up to breakfast. We all eat together before we go to training, just to
Hmm.
obviously nutritionally, but just to get our minds right. So we're not just walking out onto the field for training, but a little bit more preparation, right?
Mm.
So 7:30 breakfast. Get to a facility around like 7:50, and I'll do treatment, pre-practice treatment, on my ankles specifically for me, but any things guys are going through need extra help on before training, just to get you, best physically before it. Do that. That's about 30 minutes. So that's like 8:30 at this point. We usually have a team meeting, sometimes quick, sometimes a little bit of film from like 8:45 to 9. And then 9 to let's say 11 is practice like on the field training. And then after that, sometimes we have film after, sometimes we're done. And then so let's say 11:30 we're done. Get to lunch, shower, clean up, do some recovery, get to lunch around 12:30. Um, and then I never do 12:30 classes, but we have like a basically like 12 to 5:30 block class schedule is basically the window we do our classes. So I'm usually like 1:30 to 5, I'd say, classes. And then if it's like we play Tuesday, Fridays, so usually Thursday nights. If that's a Thursday night like 5:30 or 6, we'll have film for the game the next day. Um,
Mm.
and then wake up and do it again. So.
Gotcha.
I have a, or did you want to say something, Brandon?
I was just gonna ask because I've always been like curious, like when it comes to soccer, because I don't know much about soccer, and I've always
Yeah,
like obviously I know how like film study works for football, but like how does like
yeah,
film study work for like soccer? Like what?
yeah,
Like
great question. Yeah. So it's very detailed. That's one thing about Clemson here is very detail oriented, in anything, not just film, obviously, but film specifically. Go through tactically, like what this team's good at. Maybe they're good at defending or they're good at attacking corner kicks, long throw-ins, free kicks like that. So how
Mhm.
to defend that, who the main targets are, how we're going to defend it. Are we going to do zone? Are we going to do man? A little bit of like a hybrid of both, stuff like that. But then like other like tactically, just like style of play. This team, they like to keep possession in the back near their field or near their goal. So
Mhm.
maybe we'll press and we'll focus really on press. Like, where do we want to force them? How are we going to support the first guy pressing and pressing together? Kind of like defense would on football.
Yeah.
And then offensively, tactically, we'll talk about like what are ways we can break this team down. If we pass it to the right back, what movement does that trigger for our midfielders, forwards, center backs, goalie behind them to support and best break through them, right?
Yeah.
But the thing about soccer too is like you can do all this, and it's good because it's very helpful. Don't get
Yeah.
me wrong. But it's the player's game because you can't call a timeout. A team might switch, and that's why it's super important just for everybody to be on the same page because like you gotta be prepared if that was wrong or if they adjust to that, how are we gonna adjust? It's like a chess
Mhm.
match almost.
Yeah.
So it's good, but the film's super important for what we do, and also just to be able to learn from past games on what focus just on us too.
Yeah.
Good
Like,
question. Appreciate that.
Hey, so I was just gonna ask, has it been difficult like balancing being a student and an athlete? Like, does your schoolwork ever interfere with your athletics or vice versa? So,
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, it's definitely being an athlete in college has taught me time management for sure. And just, priorities, what to prioritize, to make sure I'm, performing the best on the field, but also in the classroom. And so I'll say our support staff is extremely helpful. Our coaching staff and like the culture of the soccer team really we have core values, eight of them, and one of them is emphasize education. And so we really prioritize, getting the most help we can, being the most prepared in the classroom so that we don't have to worry about these things when we're on the field, right? So I think it's they give us the time to know like when to do our work. So it's up to you to do it. Some guys do struggle with that because maybe they'll leave stuff. Maybe like, my younger self, freshman self, definitely did that occasionally of leaving some assignments I shouldn't have till the last day, stuff like that. But we're required study hall hours, especially your first year, first 2 years until you show like have a certain GPA, and show you can handle that. But that's extremely helpful. We have access to tutors, strategic mentors, and then required study hall, obviously. So we got to get a certain number of hours per week. And if you use that wisely, like you really don't have to do much extra work when you're back at your room, or something like that. But
yeah.
it makes a full day for sure. Like going from training to class to instead of, you may want to chill if you're tired, but like probably knock out your homework first and then you can spend that time, right?
Yeah. And just like to play off of that is like, is it hard to have like a social life, or is like your social life a lot of just like hang out with the team?
Yeah, yeah. I think that's another key factor why I came here is I mean, we're more than just a team. Like these guys are my best friends, like whatever one of us are doing, we're doing together. And so yes, like it's busy, but it's like our social life, like if we're doing something, it's gonna be with all the other guys because we choose to do that. It's not like, oh, we should hang out because we're teammates. It's like we know we want to because we're each other's best friends. So it's honestly like no, it's a great I love the guys. We have a great time together. Even if that's just chilling, watching a game or something, it's like it's fun when you got like six other guys with you doing it, or something. So
Appreciate it.
yeah.
So after last year, y'all obviously had like kind of a tough end of the season.
Hmm.
Um, or maybe it didn't go the way that the whole team kind of wanted it to. What's the vibe in the locker room kind of in this off season, looking forward to the next season and getting ready to prepare to like get your money back?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, I think reflection is a good thing, learning, just really like realizing that there was good things that happened this past fall, but not enough, right? We let too many things slip up, right? And that's what led to these final results that we weren't looking for. And so I think this spring, especially just we lost a lot of guys from graduating, transferring, going professionally, so it's a pretty new team, to be honest. We got 10 new guys, a couple freshmen, the rest transfers. And so really just emphasizing, showing what the Clemson standard is, the culture is here, and really just trying to become more of a team and gel that way. And then the second piece is holding that standard and keeping each other accountable. Realizing that like we were a little disappointed of how last season went, but don't let that go to waste, right? How can we learn from it and prevent that from happening again? How can we learn from that and grow and win those one goal games rather than lose those one goal games that we shouldn't? And so it's been good. Obviously, it's not easy, it's that's part of growth. It's gonna have its bumps along the way, but it's the overall commitment of every guy wanting, you know, maybe we're here, we're trying to get here. Are you gonna let this go so that you can step up closer to it, right? And so realizing as a team, what do we want? What is our ultimate goal and how are we gonna get there? And so I'm hopeful. It's been a great first 7 weeks to get with the guys. We had our first exhibition last week, and the main theme was compete, like show that you want it. And I feel like the guys responded really well and showed that. And so now it's like, all right, we got that down. Now let's build from that, just trying to get better each day, continually, so that once we get to the fall, it's a habit by then.
And then you're going to be a senior this coming year, right?
I will, yep.
So as a senior, as one of the older guys on the team, kind of being one of the people who've stayed in and been with Clemson through some of the ups and some of the downs, how does that feel, on you to go in and say, "Hey guys, I'm a senior. This is our seniors team. Let's take it together." And so how do you feel being one of the
Yeah.
elders on the team?
Yeah, I think there's a sense of responsibility that there's so many new guys to the culture and to the team and the program that you want them to understand what the standards are, what Clemson soccer is about, but also showing that, you're still learning too, and that it's not like what I say goes, what any of the other seniors say goes all the time. It's definitely learn from our experience, and we have more experience because we've been here, right? So we understand what the coaches are trying to tell us and trying to help the younger guys do that. But also showing that we're willing and ambitious to get better, and whatever it takes to be successful and grow as a team, we're there for it. So it's yes, there's a responsibility, but it's almost like a opportunity. It's like, this is one of our last years to make a mark. It's like we can't do it alone, so let's do it together. Let's embrace the whole team, realize like we need each other, and hopefully through that, the rest of the team understands that and ultimately wants the same for one another, and realizing that it's something bigger than ourselves and how much more people have been impacted through the collective than just us as an individual.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Just a little quick question, just
All right. Does
'cause I
anybody have anything else? Brandon, you got some?
yeah, just to be morbidly curious.
Yeah,
As a former athlete, as a tri-sport athlete, I like there are a lot of days where I had rough conditioning days, like through football. Is there any like conditioning drills? Like we used to run 110s, which were just 1/10 of the field running down and back. We had to do that in, like 40 seconds, and it was awful in the blazing 100-degree heat.
yeah,
Is there any like conditioning drills that you could think of from your time that you absolutely dread just thinking about?
definitely. Yeah. We run a lot, and so there's so many variations of how they try and train that conditioning and that running here, but there's definitely those that stick out. And some of them you learn and their strategy too, and it's like,
Yeah.
okay, this isn't as bad. I mean, it's still hard, but it's like you figure out how the game is, the drill is and how to best perform in that. But some of
Mhm.
them, man, like no matter how good you get at them, they stay hard. And to me, one of those is it's called dribble track. It's like like basketball suicides, like free throw
Mhm.
line,
Yeah.
halfway line, across the court and back. It's like that, but we're like dribbling a soccer ball around cones. So basically the same, like 5 yards, 10 yards, 20 yards. Um, and it's 30 of us lined up horizontally next to each other, and it's you got 2 minutes, you gotta get as far as you can, a minute break, and we're going again. We'll do, a couple, 3, 4 sets of that, and it's just like, man, like it's middle of July, it's probably 85 and we just played and it's like, all right, get on the line, and it's just
Um,
it's yeah, so that's definitely one of them. But at the same time, like talking about that brotherhood and that unity on the team again, it's like when I look across the line and see all the guys working their tails off for each other, and trying to get through this together. And when you hear another guy next to you, like, come on, like 1 more minute, let's finish this out, it's like that. There's nothing more that pumps me up to do that than, and so as hard as it is, it's you got to go through those teams to grow closer together, and we definitely do that. So,
yeah,
but yeah, I'd
definitely.
say dribble track. That's definitely my pet peeve of conditioning.
Yeah, no, we ran a lot of like in football. We ran a lot of stadiums, and I
Yeah,
hated
yeah.
stadiums. We had a big stadium. It was pretty decent size. I fell a few times. There was a good bit of
Yeah.
times I fell. I busted my knees, and now my guy's like, "Ah, get up, get up." I'm like, I really can't, man. I just busted the hell out of my knee, man. I really can't just stand up right now. But no, I always thought about that. I was like, man, I wonder how other sports do their conditioning because this is pretty rough,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So,
especially with the heat and everything. The heat just makes
Do
everything
y'all
5 times worse. Sorry.
do y'all ever have to run the dikes? I know when my brother was on the tennis team here, they would have to do like up and back in a certain amount of time, and he said that was
yeah.
hell.
Yeah. No, we not for like not really. We've done it before. Like one day, like it was still icy out and we couldn't train on the field. So it was like, run both the dikes basically. And that'll be our, active for the day, but it's not like um they can make it hard, but we never really use the dikes for that.
I have a quick question. So, do you watch a lot of soccer?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So, my roommate is really into soccer and like I don't know anything. Do you have like a league and or like a team you recommend watching for like
Yeah.
someone who doesn't know anything?
Yeah, definitely. The Premier League is the league in England. I feel like, when I was growing up and everybody honestly, like you pick a team in that league and you stick with it, thick and thin, regardless of how good they are or how bad they are, like that's your team and you let that decide your behavior for the next 20 years, right? So I'm a Liverpool fan in England. And I there's a player
Tied
and
today, right?
like I'm sorry.
Tied today, right?
Yeah. Oh no, they won today.
Okay,
Like
yeah, I
extra
was.
time.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
I was watching that.
Yeah, they were tied for a while. Yeah.
Yeah.
Needed that win too, because
Hmm.
that'd be a brutal tie. Yeah, but no, I enjoy watching them and it's a mix of like fun entertainment, but also like learning and analyzing the games too. Getting familiar with the teams, the players, and who you like to mimic. Try and add to your game a little bit. But yeah, I know it's super enjoyable and it's fun when you got a bunch of friends that all like different teams within the same league, it gets some good banter going.
Um, I like what you said about the Premier League. I'm kind of a Chelsea fan because I used to
Yeah,
watching N'Golo Conte.
love that. Yeah, don't blame you.
Is there a certain player that you kind of wanted to model your game after, or a certain kind of tactics that you like?
Yeah, definitely. So that's why I'm a Liverpool fan was he retired in 24 or he didn't retire, but he left them in 2014 was Steven Gerrard. He was like a legend midfielder for him. I saw his last game for England, and so growing up, he was the guy. I mean, I still watch like highlights of him and stuff. But he was definitely the guy I like to watch. But I changed a year ago positions to a center back, so defender now. So Virgil van Dijk, I obviously really like to watch on that same team. How he plays, obviously, but also how he carries himself and the type of teammate he is to how he leads and how he encourages others.
Well,
All right. Does anybody have anything else? Ethan, you got something?
no, I was about to just wrap it up.
Yeah, I was going to say, Matthias, man, really appreciate you joining us here. That was such a great conversation, filling us in on everything that it is soccer that, us football, basketball, different types of sport people may not understand. We really appreciate it. I'm sure going forward, some of us will come to your games and check you out, see you there, see you perform this coming season. We're excited to see how Clemson does and see if we can rebound and, see you leading the team. But if there's not anything else, we'll wrap it up and we'll hope to see everybody next week for our next episode of In the Valley. We really appreciate everybody listening.
Thank you guys again. Really appreciate it. Enjoy the show. Y'all take care.
Appreciate you, man.
Thank
You
you.
too.
Thank you.
See you.